Hello and welcome to the first ever championship predictions on the 4-4 F2 channel. Today we've got James.
Hello everybody, how are we doing?
He's our resident non-expert on all things football.
Absolutely zero ball knowledge. I will just preface, as you can see, I am a Sheffield United fan. I've got the 0809 shirt on today. So I will preface that I have zero championship, or just zero football knowledge. I enjoy watching it, but I know about 5 or 6 players outside of the Sheffield United team that are in the championship. So that's the extent of my knowledge here. So please don't judge me.
Judge him hard. He's here on the vibes. He's here on the football vibes.
I'm just here for good times and to make an absolute mockery of myself. But if my prediction is if it's close, then that's a huge win. If there's one team in the correct position, I've absolutely smashed this.
I think there's a good chance of one team being in the correct position. But today we're going to be doing the official 4-4 F2 championship prediction. We're going to fight, we're going to argue, and we're going to try and pick the correct league table come the end of this season. So we'll start down at the bottom and work our way up. Who's your nomination for rock bottom? Oh, go on.
I was just going to say, my league table is basically I predicted the bottom 5, the top 6, and then just stuck people in the middle that weren't any of those 11 teams that I just predicted. But I'll start off with at the bottom. I have Derby finishing bottom.
There we go. We can agree on something early doors.
Again, I've heard that the Derby manager, he's the ex-Rotherham manager still, isn't it? Is it
Paul
Derby?
Warne,
is it
yeah.
Paul Warne? Paul Warne. He's not proven in this league, and I don't think they've really recruited well enough from what I've seen. And I just feel like they're just not going to be able to get that momentum. I feel like there might be a few injuries. I'm going to say that a lot through this, by the way, that I'll just feel like this is a team that will get injuries because that's what happens in football. And this is going to be a competitive championship, a physical championship, I think, this season. It's much better than the Premiership.
Okay, so from what I've seen, they're seeing their biggest signing as Ben Osborne. Obviously, you know about Ben Osborne. If that's their...
Absolutely.
Paul Warne described Ben Osborne as like Zidane in training. What do you think?
I mean, I have seen him on a football pitch, and he is either the best player on the pitch or the worst player on the pitch. No offense, Ben. I absolutely love you. Like, he had a very difficult time at Sheffield United. He was literally known as the squad player. It's like if we've got a player injured in the middle, at the back, he's basically covering that position because we had no one else, and he would always do a good 6, 7 out of 10, I think, in that position. But unfortunately, like any player who plays out of position, really, I think how do I say this? He just couldn't be the best in that position, so he would obviously make mistakes, that sort of thing. But he's had a couple seasons in the Premiership, but still, he wasn't a starting 11 player for us unless players were injured. And if that's your best signing, then it doesn't sound great.
I never rated him in the middle of the park, and it sounds like that's where he's going to be playing predominantly for Derby. Could be wrong.
Okay. Is Conor Hourihane still there, or is he, again, a player that used to play for Sheffield United?
I'll pull it up. We'll do a fact check.
But I know I've used to work with a Derby fan. I know a couple, I think, still. And I've just never really heard much from them in terms of anything special particularly happening. Yes, they got promoted last season, coming second with 92 points. I have got that stat up on my screen.
He's not at Derby anymore. He's at Barnsley.
Oh, yeah, he went to Barnsley. I can
remember. To Barnsley again.
Because there's somebody else I work with is a Barnsley fan, and I can remember him saying, actually, yeah. But
there we go.
We've got Derby 20, no, bottom position, 24.
Sorry, Derby fans. You're probably going down. If we have any knowledge, which we don't, probably going down. So for me, on my prediction, I'd like to throw forward another promoted team in Oxford United to be 23rd.
I also have Oxford United. I've sort of gone for this purely because I swear they were in League Two like in the last 6 years. Again, I'm not 100% sure. All my knowledge of Oxford United is that I'm pretty sure Chris Wilder used to manage them. My football knowledge is so Sheffield United based; it's unbelievable. But I'm sure they'll have a very small budget because they got promoted through the playoffs, I believe.
They were the playoff winners, yeah.
They're playoff winners, so I doubt they've got the best in terms of funding. But then there's always something about a playoff winner that just has a little bit of like go out and get them, just that underdog, and it means that I feel like they never really finish bottom unless it's really like again it comes down to injuries, or it could be that their star players being poached from them when they've been promoted. But I'm guessing they've not particularly lost anyone. I don't know if I've heard of anyone major signing.
They've lost a big player in Josh Murphy. He was big for them last year.
What's he done
to? I don't know. I remember hearing that he'd left.
Right.
They lost. They had some good loans as well, if I remember. Someone like a Bowie from Palace. He was on loan there. The Josh Murphy one's a big one, and I don't think they've really replaced him. I'm looking at the incomings now, and they've signed some players, but I mean they're not signing names.
Any well-knowns? No names now.
Will Vokes, who was at Sheffield Wednesday for a bit. Matt Phillips, he used to be at West Brom. He's a Championship veteran.
How old are they?
They've got a Bowie back on a loan. Got a Bowie back on a loan, actually. So
it's players like that mean they're not going to be bottom, but they're still not going to be really pushing.
Just don't think they'll have enough about them, will they? In the end, sadly.
Again, I mean,
I'd like to see them. I'd like to see them do well.
Yeah, I mean, thing with the bottom of the Championship is there's a few teams very much like the top of the Championship that bounce between the league above and below. It's like you've got your Rotherhams, your
Barnsleys.
Your Barnsleys. I haven't got the League One league up, but there's a Huddersfield were Premiership, weren't they, in the last 10 years? So, but there's teams that like bounce. They like to bounce between. There's a lot of South Yorkshire teams, as we said, with Rotherham and Barnsley and stuff. So there is teams that maybe might build and try and become one of those that can bounce between, build some momentum, and then hopefully push on. Who knows? But let's move on to 22nd place. So this is the
final relegation
top of the
place.
Final relegation place. And I feel like we both might have the same again here, but I've gone with Plymouth.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Make your argument for Plymouth.
So my understanding is, and I could be wrong because again, zero ball knowledge, is Plymouth have... I feel like they've lost a lot of the key players from last season.
I know that current Cooper so far.
I was about to say, so we're recording this on Thursday, the
day
8th of August.
Starts, yeah.
It's day before the season starts. It's 8:30 at night. And I know Sheffield United are after Cooper, after selling Will Asula onto Newcastle earlier on today, or yesterday. So we do have some funds possibly to go in for Cooper, but I know that Plymouth are making it quite difficult. If they're losing the keeper, I don't know if what they've got as backup. I don't know. I'd like to think that because we're after him, he's a pretty decent youngster. He's a good shot stopper. And if that's what kept Plymouth up in, what was it last? Oh, they were just outside the relegation zone, weren't they, with 51 points, 21st position. I just feel like unless they make some signings with the money that they get from players, which I doubt you can really get many decent ones, I think
they were talking about 3 mil for Cooper, so it's not like they can do a big whole squad rebuild with that sort of money in the Championship these days.
And if they, yeah, exactly. I don't know what. Did you say you haven't got Plymouth?
I haven't got Plymouth. Okay. I actually have them to finish one place above, just surviving relegation.
So same.
And
as
I think
21st.
I think they've got something a bit similar to Sheffield United in that they've got a manager who absolutely needs this job to go well. The clubs are on two different spectrums of the league. Yeah. But if this doesn't go well for Rooney, he's on This Is Football next season with Roy Keane and Gary Neville. Not this is football. Stick to football.
He's not stick. Or he'll get another job out in America or something like that.
Yeah, he's. I think he's close to exhausting all his options. So I think, and he did a good job with Derby back in the day. Got him in. No, he didn't get him in playoffs, did he?
I swear, did he not get them relegated?
No, I'm thinking Frank Lampard, aren't I?
Yeah, Frank Lampard was Derby. Did he get to Derby?
He held Derby on his shoulders by paying the players himself at one bit, though.
Rooney
Lampard,
did,
Rooney was defo there. So I think they're just going to scrape it. The team I think is going to go down is Watford.
Watford, okay.
Watford.
See, I've got Watford quite high, considering what you've just said. But that's just because I'm just like...
This is their first season now without parachute payments. The transfers have been not good, I'd say, personally. They signed a keeper who didn't have a club in Bond. They've signed Moussa Sissoko, who you probably do remember from his brief spell in the Premier League, but that would have been years ago now.
Yeah.
They've signed two 19-year-olds, an 18-year-old. They've signed Yasser Larouchi.
He was on loan to us last season and didn't really play. You think he wasn't great. Then we replaced him with a player coming back from injury. He was not liked at Sheffield United. I know that.
We signed Luke Thomas to replace Yasser Larouchi because we realised he weren't good enough.
Yeah.
Or was it the other way around? No, it was that way
Larouchi
around.
was first. Because
we sent
Luke
Thomas
in
back. We sent him back in January because he was awful. And then Larouchi just had to be played because of injuries. It was.
Well, he didn't even play that much. I swear, and Blow was back by that point. That's Ben Osborne. There we go. He's got another mention. He was basically in that position majority of last season over Larouchi. So, but it depends what. Again, so
what? So I think we're going to have to find an average here. Where have you put Watford?
So I put. So remember at the top of the video, I said I picked my bottom six or bottom five, and my top six.
Yeah.
And then I chucked teams in the middle. I've got Watford in 13th, but this is because when was it? It was the first season we just got relegated from the Premiership. First or second?
I know that we played them at the start of the season, didn't we?
It was the first game of the season, and it was like they were meant to be. They were like favourites because
they had a good player though, didn't they? If I remember, was it Sarr?
Yeah, it might have been Sarr. Yeah, and in my head, because I haven't really followed the Championship for the last. Well, definitely not last season because Sheffield United were obviously top flight. And I know they didn't do particularly well the 2 seasons before, but I'd always assumed that they were sat mid-table, which 13th is pretty much top of the bottom half, so you can't get more mid-table than that. So that's why I got them there, but I understand...
They finished lower than that last season.
Is it Watford that have also had like 52 managers in the last 3 seasons as well? Because was it Wilder went to Watford, didn't he, for a little bit?
He's the only manager who's managed to see out his contract there in recent years.
But he was there for 6 months until the end of the season, and then was like, "Nah, I'm not staying."
I'm pretty sure that was it, something like that. I think he fell out with people in true Wilder fashion.
Chris Wilder falling out with people? Nah.
Yeah.
If I did see you in the pub though, Wilder, I would buy you a pint because my granddad loved you, so that's all.
The current manager of Watford is Tom Cleverley, ex-Man U.
Oh my God, did he go back? He went because he played for them. Did he leave and then he's come back as player manager?
I don't know if he's ever actually left or they've just sort of gone, well, we're going through that many at this point. Like, is there anyone already here who could do it?
He was he was at Watford for a while. I can remember. Yeah, because I can always remember, like, oh yeah, Tom Cleverley. Whenever I'd see him on the team sheet.
Yeah, because he's from that era where you think we've all thought he was decent because he played for Man U, but it was just Man U.
It's like Chris Evans, Johnny Evans.
Yeah,
it's like he left for ages and then he's gone back to Man U. He's like, oh yeah, remember Johnny Evans who used to play for Man U. Anyway,
so what are we doing? Because we've got to describe. I think the more common choice is Plymouth. And I think I'd be happy to... I think I'd be happy to drop Plymouth in.
So Plymouth in. So we're still on 22nd. We're still top.
This
top
is for the
of
final
the
relegation
zone.
place. But
I
I'd
think
want
we've got it
down there. In between 17 to 21.
Oh yeah, that's fine. You can stick. I'd say stick Watford 19, 20. But then who I have in 21st and 20th, I could switch either as well. So we'll get on to that.
Well, let's move on. Obviously, I had Plymouth, the one place above.
Yeah, so you had them into it. I had Blackburn.
I had Blackburn that because above that,
So I've got Blackburn in 21st because I don't know much about Blackburn. I know that the season we got promoted 2 years ago, they were up there and they were pushing, or at least they had like who do we have last season? Brereton Diaz. They had the top goal scorer in Sami Smojic. I don't know how you pronounce his surname. Last season, and I know he's still there, but I've just heard that no one's backing them whatsoever.
They're on a bit of a downward spiral.
Is it the owners are a bit?
They're just sort of leaving him alone. They've lost interest.
They're just not backing the team. It's just tied over, basically.
They haven't sold Sami Smojic yet, though.
Yeah.
And he was the Golden Boot winner last season.
Yeah. But, I mean, I don't know how long's left on his contract. And I know we were after him. I'm pretty sure there was rumours that we were like, well, yeah, we'll sign him. But surely there's got to be another team for him. If not in this transfer window, in January at least. Especially depending on where Blackburn could be in the league by January. If it doesn't go well and they have to inject something, they could sell Smojic, depending on how many he's scoring this season, sell him, get some money in and just try and bring some talent into the team because
they have
realistically
recently started signing.
Okay. Any names?
They've signed Andreas Weimann, who's a legend of the Championship. He was at Villa when they were in the Championship. He's been at Bristol City for a while. They've signed Danny Barth, something like that. And then they've gone to the overseas market.
The six that I know.
They've signed Yuki Ohasi and Maktar Gai. They both come in for just over $1 million.
Right.
Going into the peak. They've kept Schmodics.
Yeah. Have they got a goal? I know they've got Schmodic. We can say he's a goal scorer because of last season, but again, it could have been a one-season wonder. Have they signed any other players that look like goal scorers at all?
That Yuki Ohasashi is...
I love your pronunciations.
I don't know. That's probably so wrong. Apparently he was like the one people were looking at in the Japanese league, as he might be able to make it over here. Okay. He's 28. Well, maybe.
Okay.
The thing that worries me for them is they had a bit of a system with Schmodic, and it seemed like Gallagher was a big lump, and Schmodic did his work around him. But Gallagher's gone.
Right.
And
right. Okay. So is that why people have been saying?
No, because he's not a big name, Gallagher. I don't think. It's just that's my opinion, but. Yeah.
Well, I've got him down there purely based off the things I've been hearing. Like, I do listen to the odd football podcast, they watch the odd video, and I don't think anyone's rated Blackburn, unfortunately. So that's why I've put them down there. So, again, I did say just before, whilst we were talking about Watford, that I have the next two. So, Blackburn, and I've also got Portsmouth. Obviously, a promoted team from... I've got them in 20th, Portsmouth.
We've got a big difference here. I've got them in 13th.
13th. Do you want to swap Portsmouth and Watford? Because I had Watford in 13th. And you've got more knowledge than I have, I think.
So where have you put Portsmouth? You put them in 19th?
I've put Portsmouth in 20th.
Okay, so we'll put Portsmouth up there then. And leave Watford down there. Just
put Watford in 20th and put Portsmouth in 13th. I'm willing to change that because, again, there's a lot of things I don't know about a good half of the teams in this league.
Portsmouth, in my opinion, are the most likely to come up and give it a good go. Close to the Ipswich of last season, and they'll not. I don't think they'll be in playoffs, but
no,
come up, be solid, crack on.
See, Portsmouth. My knowledge of Portsmouth is early 2000s when they were like Premier League, Premiership. Is that the same thing? That was when obviously like Jermaine Defoe and Peter Crouch were there. Then I just know that they had money trouble, and then they just sunk down the leagues. And then they've gradually... David Kitson. Jesus. And then they've just gradually, over the last 10 years, maybe 6.
I think they went as far down as League 2. I could be wrong.
Yeah, and then they've just gradually been building themselves back up again. That's all I know about Portsmouth. I don't know anything about the football they play. I don't know who any. I might know some of the players if you were to read the team list out, but that's the only reason I had Portsmouth down there. I was like, I know they're not the strongest. Well, I say I know. I think they're not the strongest side, and I think that they're, as a newly promoted team that's had money troubles in the past, I doubt they've got any particular standouts.
So they've done some pretty sensible business, I'd say. They signed Josh Murphy off Oxford, their Oxford's best player.
That's who you said, yeah.
They've signed that Dazelle, who was on trial at Sheffield United. They signed Matt Ritchie from Newcastle.
Oh yeah, he's been it. So that Dozell did pre-season with us as a trialist, didn't he? He scored in one of the games.
Yeah, he did everything right, to be honest. But he looked an all right player.
He was midfielder, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, if they've signed him and I can imagine if he's not come to us, Portsmouth have gone, we'll build a team around you or something, maybe.
No, I think we were like, you're going to be a squad player, we're not going to pay you a lot. And they were like, you're going to be starting, we'll pay you fair.
That makes sense. So, yeah.
I think that was it. And, I mean, Archer from QPR, a keeper.
I'm going to say it's not Cameron Archer.
Matt Ritchie. Matt Ritchie's a sensible one. Was playing for Newcastle in the Championship, in the Prem at first for a bit.
Where were you linked? Sorry, I know we're doing a thinking. Was Sheffield United linked with Matt Ritchie?
Yeah, there's been a lot of crossovers. They've let a lot of people go as well. Right. They've gone, right, you're not good enough now, see you later. So I think they've been pretty shrewd. Yeah,
so what? So 20th, we've gone to have Watford, and you've put Portsmouth up to 13th. So that's a spoiler for later on, guys.
So now we're on to 19th then. I've got Swansea City. Now, it's a weird one because this, I feel like from here up to about 12 is all a bit meaningless.
Yeah.
Because I think Swansea's going to be safe.
The same. I feel like... Wait, let's look at... I've got last season's championship table up. From 10th to 19th, there was 10 points in it.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, that's only because Blackburn had 53 and Preston had 63. Next was QPR with 56, and then it was 4 teams with 56. So that part of the championship is like everyone's battling, but not for anything. There's almost like a mini league within the league is what it feels like.
It's just you don't want to go too close to the bottom because usually there's like 1 or 2 that is like they're going down. But if you drop too close, they can... We saw it with QPR and Wednesday last season. They were going to go down and then they both...
Yeah.
So I got Swansea there, but who were you saying?
I put Cardiff, and this is, as we've just been saying, because it's that part of the league where it could when it gets to the end of the season, it could literally be 3, 4, 5 points in it in terms of like the difference between these teams, and it's all basically could be injuries, it could be goal difference, it could be that one of them teams loses bloody 6-0 to one of the top teams. Like that's what that part of the league comes down to. So I think, should we rattle off? So what? This is 19.
I'll tell you what. I'll pick this one. You pick the next one up until 12th.
12th.
Up until 12th. We've already got 13.
This is my limited ball knowledge on something I've quite like saying to people for some reason is this part of the league is like where Ipswich were in my head for like 14 years. Like Millwall, Ipswich, lots of other teams, Stokes, QPR, Blackburn. This is where these teams, I know Blackburn were up there at one point, but in my head, when I started following football, Blackburn were Championship. But
through and through,
it's like it's like these are Championship teams. These are teams that will always be in the Championship in my head.
These are your Crystal Palaces of the Championship. These are your Wolverhamptons of the Championships. They're just sort of there.
Yeah. They're just always there. They do okay. Nothing special. They're just ticking on, getting that money. Maybe they'll get a young talent that will push them on. That sort of thing. They strike gold with a player, have like a good playoff season, maybe drop off. But anyway, so I've picked 19th.
I've picked 19th. You can pick 18th.
So you've got Swansea in 19th. I've put Stoke in 18th.
I'm all right with that, actually. Yeah.
Like, I don't... just to give Stoke some airtime, mid-table Championship team, like, I don't know if they've got any standout players. I know they're one of them teams that might occasionally push playoffs, but I don't know myself of any standout players that they have. And I've never heard anyone say Stoke have got a really great system in terms of the football
I think what Stoke relied on for years was the balance. They had a balance. Pulis gave them a balance, didn't he?
Yeah, so it was a level playing field. It wasn't like a strong attack or a strong defence. It was like everyone's the same ability and they can just play a bit of football.
Southgate couldn't do the job, sort of job. It was all about one striker had to fit this mould, one striker had to fit this mould. It didn't matter if there was a better striker on the bench. That's how it had to be. All right, I'm happy with that. So who did I put? I think I've got Millwall. I've got Millwall at 17th.
Okay. See, for some reason, I like Millwall. I don't know why.
I don't like betting on them.
Like them as a club. I know they were not. I feel like last season they were poor, but maybe towards the end of the season, really. I mean, I've got the league up, and the last 5 games of the season last season, I think they won. Unless this is showing me the pre-season for this season.
The last 5 of that Championship season were a bit mental.
But Millwall were up in 13th, and I just know that they didn't. I do remember hearing that they weren't really kicking on last season for the majority of it. But then, as I say, they got 59 points. They were about... Oh no, they were way off the playoffs. But yeah, Millwall I like. So I had them up in 7th. But that's just my own personal bias and absolute... Mate, it is this between 5th and where we are at 17th, it's just rogue, honestly. I'm going to get so many people in the comments calling me out.
Let's sum up. So their sort of business that they've done, there's been 6 bits of transfers, both sales and buys.
This is Millwall.
Yeah, they've sold 2, they've bought 4. Fair enough. Tanganga from Spurs is a very decent deal.
Is he on loan or have they bought him?
They bought him.
Bought him. Okay.
They had him on loan.
I heard the name. I've heard the name. He was there last season.
They've signed Lucas Jensen, who plays for Lincoln, and I weirdly watch a bit of Lincoln, and he is a very decent keeper. Okay. I think he'd do a good job at this level. But, like I say, I don't think they're going to be... I think they're going to be similar to last season. I don't think they're going to, at any point... I think maybe you'd be thinking, Millwall could slip into a relegation battle. I don't think they're ever going to be like, we have to win this.
How long have Millwall been in the Championship?
We played them in League One, didn't we?
Was it? Did they did drop at some point? Okay.
I can't. Once again, it's just Championship.
If you ask me, I would say they've been there in the Championship since
they've never left.
Since they introduced Premiership, Championship, League One, League Two, Millwall have always been Championship in my head. But that's again the limited ball knowledge.
But that was my pick, so that was my one. So you can pick 16th.
I've gone for Preston. Oh my god, I've just looked at my list and I've got Cardiff in here twice. I don't know who's missing out of the here now. Have I got... I've just noticed.
Make sure you bet back everything we say.
Right, I've deleted the second Cardiff.
This is why you should have done it on tier list.
Yeah. I've got Preston in 16th, sorry. I've done that purely because they were 10th last season. I don't feel like they've signed anyone. I feel like other teams around them have maybe recruited better, and I think that just means that they might drop down a little bit, and I've put them in 16th.
They've lost Alan Brown as well. Mr. Championship was their best player last season, apparently. Not a good bit of business to lose.
Stick that little caveat on there.
Yeah. So I get to pick 15th.
Yeah, so I haven't got anyone in 15th.
I struggled with this.
I really need to work out who I've not put in.
QPR.
No, I've got QPR in there.
Well, I put QPR there. I really
15th.
struggled with that bit of the table because it's just...
Yeah.
I like the manager. There's some good players there, but
I'm really struggling to work out who I haven't put in. I know who it is, and I think this is a great shout for this position, actually.
14th.
The 15th. So, no, oh, crap, no, they were... So for 15th, I did have Cardiff, but I'd already put them in 19th earlier on. I've put Norwich.
Yeah, there's no way we're putting them there. That was my pick anyway, that position. Norwich are going to be
not putting
well up
Norwich.
there. You can do if you want, but they'll be in 14th with the way we've been doing it.
Okay, maybe not Norwich. I don't know where I'd put Norwich. Maybe who's the... Well, they finished... So I'm looking at last season's table.
You know what? I'm happy to put Norwich in 14th. Because then it levels out your table of getting it Cardiff twice. It's a lot lower than I'd have them. They've still got Sargent.
You know what? No. I'm going to move my next... So I've got my 12th, 13th and 14th can all move down.
You've got to pick... You can pick 14th now. It's your pick. It's your team.
14th is where I'd have... because we've moved positions in this, I'm getting confused.
It's getting confusing, I'm getting confused.
Are you... What? So can you
just look at your list and say who it is? And I'll tell you if they're
my list in 14th.
Mm-hmm.
I've got Bristol.
Okay, you can put.
But they finished 11th. They were 11th last season, and I feel like I've heard that they might do a bit better this season. I don't know.
I personally think they're going to have a decent season.
Right.
But then again, I only put them in 9.
This is the thing I kind of want to say about football is there is always a team that is a lot worse than you think they're going to be. This is the thing within this part of the table. There's one team that you think are going to do really well and are just awful.
Yep.
And then there's the team that's usually awful and just has an unbelievable season for whatever reason.
Yep.
And I feel like we haven't played that into our choices.
Watford is my team that I think is going to do absolutely awful, that people maybe aren't suggesting they are.
Okay, yeah.
That was my...
Who's your rogue? I know you've had Portsmouth earlier that you think's going to be up there.
So the top 11, top 10 becomes a bit of a muddle. Personally, okay. I think people think it's a lot more dead on than it actually is. So Well, it will unwrap the further we get up, but I don't.
Okay. So I've got Bristol in 14th. Should we leave them there?
I'm happy with them there. I mean, I do think they're going to have a good season. I think they've signed well. I think it's probably going to be their best season for a little bit this season, but I'd not even put them in the playoffs. So, right. So you've just done 14th. So
13th. This
I
is where
already did
had
this
Watford
earlier because
originally.
we put Portsmouth here for me because we swapped them with Oxford.
Yeah,
So Portsmouth
and
are
I
already
had
there. So who's your 12th? We've already spoke about Portsmouth and Watford.
I've got Sunderland, and I know they would. This might be the team that didn't do too well last season, but might kick on this season. So
Okay,
that's
I
what
had
I'm
these
going to go with
15th.
Sunderland.
I had these
Okay.
15th. So we missed out on it. So I'm happy with Sunderland there. The team's good. They've kept some good players, but I think Luke O'Nine's good. They've kept the
And I
striker, haven't
mean,
they? Is it
I've
Jack
heard a lot of
Clark?
people saying, and I do not agree with this. I've heard a lot of people saying that they're the biggest team in the Northeast. I don't know how true that is, but
South Shields is probably the biggest team in the Northeast, isn't it?
I prefer not to speak on it because I have a
Fair
slight soft
enough.
spot for Newcastle. But I
I
know
think
there's a
I
lot of
think
fans
I
of
think
the Sunderland
as
Till I Die documentary, which is why I kind of put them up there.
Sunderland have just appointed a strange manager, and that's why I think they're going to be. I think it's going to be a bit of a clicking season, and then maybe
Or
push on next season.
Is Sunderland the team that's hired like French
Yeah,
youth manager?
his background is sort of in being working in academies, bringing on the youth.
Right, okay.
So he's
Yeah,
not
that's a
really
rogue
been a
manager, but
set
he
manager.
could be like the next the think like unearthed managerial talent that's
It could be.
just
That's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing. I think
like in
Sunderland
my
are a
head,
bit of an unknown.
Brighton's ex manager came out of nowhere for me. And I feel like that could be the Has he left the old Brighton manager? What's he called?
Desailly or Potter.
Tizarbi. He was quite
He's
short.
still there. He's still there.
No, I thought he'd had a disagreement with the Brighton board because he wanted more power. I thought he'd gone.
Oh,
Who's Brighton? I know we're talking about Premiership here, but I kind of want to know who the Brighton manager.
yeah, you're right. Fabian Hersler. You're right. This is how
Is he
little
the
I pay
current
attention to the Prem. I am the
Yeah.
Championship. I bleed the Championship. You know what I mean? Right.
Championship
So
is better than the Premiership.
what we'll do is we'll argue from about 8th. So you've just picked. Oh God. You've just picked Sunderland. So it's my pick now. I'm going to pick West Brom to finish 11th.
Okay. This was another one of my. Well, I had West Brom in 5th again, like they were last season.
Okay.
And that's where I've put them. But so that was 12th or 11th, sorry. Where was West Brom for you? 11th.
11th, yeah.
I'd got QPR there.
We've already put QPR in at 15th, yeah.
Okay.
So you can do 10th. The only thing I will say on West Brom is I think they've probably got one of the best managers. He's easily top 3, I think. But they're working under a bit of a transfer situation and yeah.
So they've got the best manager, but they're not going to kick on because of the.
There's a bit of a thing
financials.
about transfer situation. I'm not actually 100% sure on what's going on, but I think they might have an embargo.
I've not heard anything, so I'm going to keep quiet on this bit. Another team that I'm going to say this now, and I'm curious as to where you've put them, is Middlesbrough.
Okay. They're a bit further up the table for me.
Okay, I didn't know. Do you think I'd got them at 10th, Middlesbrough, and I got QPR in 11th? I didn't know.
Okay, well we can put Middlesbrough in next because it's your pick.
Yeah.
A lot of people, a lot of the predictions I've listened to have put them 4th, 5th. I've not really heard them not finishing the playoffs, but I just don't see it with Middlesbrough.
For me, it was Carrick had that great first season. He was getting them to play attacking football. He then lost some key players, I think, last season.
Archer and Akpom.
He lost them last season. I heard he was struggling a bit. I heard they were proper fluctuating with their league position. And although they've stuck with him, I think this might be one of the managers that, if he doesn't kick on again, if he has a terrible beginning to the season, I think he'll be one of the first managers to go, and that's why I've put them 10th.
I could see that as well.
Like,
I
gone by
genuinely,
Christmas, and then it all depends on who they bring in, which is why I haven't put them further down. But I think someone else comes in, saves them, tries to push for playoffs. That's how I see this. That's why I've put Middlesbrough 10th.
yeah, I could see that.
I don't know if that's some rogue football. I like nothing against Michael Carrick, nothing against Middlesbrough. Just there's usually a team that happens to, and I have a feeling it's Middlesbrough this season.
Yeah, I'm happy with him there. I think the genuine reason was I thought Carrick might struggle, and about halfway through the season lose his job, and then just become in half a transitional season. That's genuinely what I thought. But I did have him higher. I did have him 7th because I thought they might really push on after he went. You know, like that new manager bounce you get.
Yeah.
And really try and go for it. But I still didn't think they quite cut the mustard. So that's fine. I'm happy with them there. Next team I had, we can't put in because they were already in. In 14th, I had Bristol City.
You had Bristol there.
Yeah. But I'll throw out a
11th.
suggestion. I'll throw out a suggestion because I had him in 10th. What about Hull City?
I've got Hull in 9th, and I am very happy for him to go. Is that where we're putting? Sorry, is that where we are? We're on 9th position.
Yeah.
I've literally got Hull in 9th. So
there we go. Bit of money to spend. They're going to do some business. They were good enough last season. New manager. Yeah.
New manager, I believe.
Yeah.
I believe there's a guy at work that's a Hull fan. I think he said that they're signing a new keeper, decent keeper. I'm not sure how true that is, but Hull are a weird one for me because, again, they're one of them teams that were like Blackburn, like Stoke, like Watford, have been top flight within the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
With the whole last 10 years, yeah?
Because it was, so, yeah. We played them in the cup.
The FA Cup, yeah. So they've been up and they've dropped down. They haven't been able to get going. So they're always like, oh, maybe. I just don't know. I have no idea about this new manager for Hull. The guy at work's praising him, but then again, he said when they were making all these signings in January last season, that he was a Hull fan that was like, we're winning the playoffs. And then they finished 7th and didn't even get playoffs. So I don't really know how much I can.
It depends on how they replace the players who have gone, I think.
Yeah. So we've got Hull in 9th.
Who's your 8th?
I have our friends across the city, Sheffield Wednesday.
Okay.
Now
I've got Norwich.
See, Norwich were down in 15th for me. I want to get on the record now. I don't know how much. So me and Will both have friends that are Sheffield Wednesday fans. I'm from Sheffield. I live in Sheffield. I know a bunch of Wednesday fans. I know a bunch of Sheffield United fans. There is a lot of talk about the manager. I mean, he was literally with the BBC during the Euros. He is being rated as the next up-and-coming thing. And I think I said they'd get top half, which obviously... But I felt like there's just... I don't know. There's something that I feel like maybe,
for me.
I think it's because I've heard whispers of Wednesday fans in my ear, and it's making me think, oh, maybe they're better than they actually are, and I should hate them as a Sheffield United fan.
For me, I do think Danny Röhl is one of the best managers in the league. I think the thing that you have to ask yourself, with the Prem being quite competitive, because you've got previously in the Prem teams sort of back in there, there's going to be more sackings, I think, in the Prem this time round. Is somebody going to come knocking?
Yeah.
Will they end the season with him still as the manager?
Depends how well they do in the beginning half, I think. If they really do kick on and they're up there, I mean, again, I I think you've got more knowledge about Wednesday than I do, but from what I'm hearing, he apparently is the next best thing. I don't know if this is the thing. He's making signings that I feel are so like rogue, but then because he finds these little players that fit his system that he wants to play, and this is what Wednesday fans are buzzing about.
I think he's good at that. But then the thing is, he signed Max Lowe, and I'm like, oh, you can't be that good at spotting a player if you're signing Max Lowe. Like, there's nothing wrong with Max Lowe.
No, not at all. But I mean, there's a lot of Sheffield United fans that hated him because signed him.
In fairness,
he went to Forest and had an absolute stormer of a season, Max Lowe, and then came back to us and was bang average.
But he got promoted when he came back to us. So in his last 2 seasons in the Championship, he's been promoted, and then the seasons
that's why they signed Max Lowe. Then
he was in the Prem.
But yeah,
he's playing at the top of the level.
Sheffield Wednesday, probably in everybody else's predictions, is probably not up there, but we have a lot of Wednesday fans in our ears.
I think they're mainly above 10th. They're mainly above 10th in a lot of predictions.
There's a lot of people giving them top half, I think, purely based off the manager. But again,
I'm going to go rogue. I've got Sheffield Wednesday in the playoffs.
You've got them top 6.
They're in the playoffs. They're 6th.
Yeah, they're at 6th. Okay.
And I'm a United fan.
Makes me question where you've put Sheffield United.
5th.
Right. Oh, that'd be. This is the thing. This is the thing with this championship. I want to sort of say, there are so many teams in that. There's a lot of like derbies in here. I mean, how many Yorkshire teams is there in this? There's
a fair few.
There's not as many as I thought. I've literally gone all the way up. There's Hull,
Leeds, Hull's Humber in it, but we still class it. They class it. Class it.
Yeah, because they haven't got anyone else near them. It's a rugby city. It's so it's. I mean, Middlesbrough's technically Yorkshire, but it's not. But Hull Wednesday, us Leeds.
That's it.
I was going to say Rotherham and Barnsley, but they're both League One now.
They'll be back in there next season.
There's like Leeds Wednesday is going to be a game to watch, I think. As same as Leeds Sheffield United.
Right, I tell you what.
It's going to be that top 10 is going to be so competitive.
This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. Right, we've still got Cardiff and Norwich. You put Norwich really low down, so why don't we?
I got Cardiff in 19th originally.
I think the fact that Cardiff's still here might be an incorrect thing we've done here. So why don't we slide Cardiff into 19th where you had them? Slide them there, right. Which moves Sunderland to 11th. And it moves Millwall to 16th. So that would leave us, I'll go from bottom to top. Derby bottom, Oxford and Plymouth to be relegated with him. Then Blackburn just outside of the relegations, followed by Watford, Cardiff, Swansea and Stoke. And then you bang mid-table teams, Millwall, Preston, QPR, Bristol City and Portsmouth. And then 11th is Sunderland, 10th is West Brom, 9th is Middlesbrough and 8th is Hull. And then we've got these teams left, which I think is probably most people's top 7, barring the Wednesday. Barring maybe swap Wednesday for Middlesbrough. But Coventry.
Wait, so is this 7th?
So this is who
Coventry 7th. Coventry 7th. I agree with that.
No, I'm not saying Coventry 7th.
Oh,
I'm reading who we've got left. So we've got Coventry, Burnley, Norwich, Leeds, Luton, Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesday. Now, I would argue, for the sake of where you put Norwich earlier, we probably have to put Norwich in there now, meaning they take 7th.
Okay.
And then that would leave us with our top 6 to argue on where we're going to place them. Is Coventry, Burnley, Leeds, Luton, Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday.
So we've not put Wednesday in yet?
Not yet. That's the 6 teams left to put in, all guaranteed playoffs or automatics.
I think So I know you've said you've got Wednesday in 7th.
6th. I've got him in 6th.
6th, sorry. So stick Wednesday there.
I'm happy with Wednesday there for the reasons we said. Danny Roll. Some good signings.
Yeah. Then Coventry in 5th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I now know your. You've got Coventry as 3rd.
The 3rd in mine, yeah.
You've got Burnley in 5th then.
No. I've got Sheffield United in 5th.
You've got Sheffield. So I've got Sheffield United 4th. So based off what we've been saying then, which is my league, I'm looking at my league and it is, I mean, I've got West Brom in 5th, so it's completely out the window, my league. My league position, sorry.
I will be putting them both up.
I've got, can we have Sheffield United in 4th, please?
Okay, can we have Coventry higher than us?
Coventry can go 3rd. I don't think they will, because I don't think they've got... I mean, everyone's been saying that we've basically stole their midfield in Hamer last season and O'Hare this season.
But they signed really well. They've replaced them really well.
Right, okay. If you say so, I don't know who they've signed. And
I'm bigging all Coventry players up because they're going to be at Sheffield United in the next 3 years.
They are our feeder team. John Fleck. Which, have I got the picture here? Oh, I've not got my John Fleck.
Right, so we've got... I think I know who your top 2 are. So we basically got to find a way to put Burnley in our playoff spots, is what I'm guessing.
Burnley are 5th, Sheffield United are 4th, Coventry are 3rd.
I'm happy to put Burnley 5th, Coventry 3rd. Yeah, so let's just wrap that up. So 3rd place, just missing out on automatics, is Coventry City. 4th place...
You know what? No. Sheffield United's 5th. Burnley. I've got Burnley finishing above Sheffield United.
I have as well.
But they've just lost... It's Scott Parker as manager, which has done well in the Championship.
I don't rate him. But
you don't...
You're going to get bang average football. And that might be what
currently, there's rumours of Sander Berg, who I didn't think Burnley fans were raving about last season, but apparently he's going to Man United for whatever reason. I don't know who else they've managed to keep. Again, they were just as bad as us last season.
If Sheffield United weren't in the Prem, they would have been one of the worst Prem teams ever. They don't get mentioned because we were there.
We were finished on 16 points. They finished on 24. I mean, their goal difference was minus 37, ours was 69. They were a little bit better defense. Let's say a little bit. Majorly much better defensively. Yeah. They conceded 78 goals. We conceded 104. That's a lot better than us, but we didn't have... I feel like we had different defence every single game. Not to make excuses, because there was a lot of things that went wrong last season for us. But Burnley, I kind of want to put below us, but I can also see you finishing above us. They're really unknown for me this season.
The thing that does it for me is this is going to be their first non-bold manager in quite a while, and I don't know how Burnley are going to react to that.
That makes a big difference.
No, I just don't see him running away with it. I don't think that's what Scott Parker ball's like. I don't think he's great for getting the best out of players.
You know what?
I think he just inherits good teams and does the bare minimum with them. And I think playoffs is bare minimum for Burnley.
There's even a little voice in my head saying that Burnley are going to not even make playoffs for some reason. You know, like the team that everyone thinks should do well, but really don't. That might
in my first draft, I actually had him out of the playoffs. And I had Middlesbrough in.
Do you want to switch? Why is Middlesbrough currently in ours?
Embarrassing to make that switch. They are 10th. 9th.
No, we're not making that switch.
No, I think Burnley have to be in the playoffs.
It's also, I'm still a little bit bitter about the 5-0 Turf Moor last season. I was there that day.
Not good.
I had a lovely Nando's beforehand, but I was literally 30 seconds in, concede, great, cool. At least play some football, boys. And then I saw nothing from Sheffield United. So I'm still a bit bitter about Burnley because of that.
And plus, Burnley
And,
could sell 10 players. and still have a squad.
Also, Burnley, I am going to call you out here. To start chanting in your stadium, they put it on the boards around the ground.
Oh,
So
that's
it'll
not
say
good,
like
is it?
"Let's go Burnley" and on the screens, and then the fans will start doing it. I don't know
Is
if
that
it's
worse
the
than
American
having a man
owners
with
coming
a
in.
drum and a trumpet?
No, trumpet's fine. It's like old England games with the drum and that. I can allow that, but
That's because they
there
do
was
that
something.
Wednesday.
It was just the fact that we were 3-0 down. They had every reason to be singing. They were our main competitors in the league. They should have been absolutely, and they weren't. So what did they do? The club put the chant on the screen. What is that?
It's a bit Tim Pot, that, isn't it? Fix that, Burnley.
I don't want to.
Just
I'm
sing for
calling
yourselves.
Burnley out.
Sing for yourselves, Burnley. In fact, you know what?
was
We're
almost
putting them
like-
below us.
You don't even sing when
Burnley.
you're winning because you've got to put it on the screen first.
Burnley, you've
Anyway.
been dropped to 5th just for your screen. With the words on. We're finishing above you because of that. I weren't aware of this till now. You've lost it. You've lost
But
a bold manager gene, which, if we're looking at Man City, is the way to go.
They've also got owners that do trick shots for a living in Dude Perfect.
And is that actually?
Did you know Dude Perfect are part owners at Burnley, I believe.
Should we swap Plymouth and Burnley?
Who isn't? Oh, it's him. And then there's the NFL player. I forgot his name.
Tom Brady's at Birmingham.
No. There's another one. Burnley NFL. Let me Google that. NFL.
Plus, an all Burnley.
JJ something.
You were the team.
JJ Watt. JJ Watt.
What?
Sorry, JJ Watt is the NFL player that also is an investor in Burnley, as well as Dude Perfect.
What?
JJ Watt?
Also, Burnley, you were the team
Sorry,
that
second.
with knobheads on the In-Betweeners movie, so you're just losing. You're losing your aura.
Burnley can fuck off.
Burnley 5th.
Right.
So, before we do our top 2, 3rd is Coventry, 4th is Sheffield United, 5th is
still rogue
Burnley,
in my head, but
6th is Sheffield Wednesday. That would mean the playoff semi-finals are Coventry and Wednesday and Sheffield United and Burnley. I'd hate that, you know.
which means, if that ended up being Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesday,
It wouldn't. That'd be a
we'd
Coventry
lose.
Burnley
We would
final. That's a Coventry Burnley final. All over it.
I've already said to all our mates that are Wednesday fans that, unfortunately, I think we are losing a derby this season. They've all said it will be at Hillsborough. I think it will be at Bramall Lane. So
I
it's
think
even
we'll win
worse.
at each other's. I said that to someone. But here's one for you, and this is for anyone who's got a rival in their league. Would you rather, say you're both destined for like a mid-table finish, you're going to finish between 7 and 11, yeah? You're not going to get anything good. Would you rather win both the derbies but finish behind your rival in the league, or lose both your derbies but finish above him? But finishing above him doesn't mean you get playoffs. It just means
I'd rather win the derbies. I would rather win the derbies 100%. And it has to, but I wouldn't want it to just be we beat them 1-0. I'd want it to be, if we beat them 1-0, I'd want it to be that it was a really close game and it was a moment of class from my team. So, which we're saying
you
Sheffield
don't
United,
get the
Sheffield
4-2s every time in a Wednesday United.
No. I went to both the following season. So I have a season ticket for Sheffield United and I managed to get tickets for Hillsborough away. I thought in my head they were both 0-0, but apparently the one at Bramall Lane was 1-1.
I thought they were.
And Gary Medine scored for us. That was when he was playing.
I think we're becoming a United podcast here.
Yeah, we're sorry.
So who do you think
bit,
could go up? Who do you think could go up in the playoffs?
So we have
United, Burnley, Wednesday. It couldn't be Wednesday, could it?
Well, it's not going to be us. It's not going to be Sheffield United. I don't want.
If we make the
be
playoffs,
Wednesday.
all I'll say is Sheffield United make the playoffs.
You know what? Give it Coventry. Just give it Coventry because we absolutely love Coventry at Sheffield United.
Yeah,
any of the players that.
In fact, no, we
That's
don't
what I
want
mean.
to go
Any of the
up because
players
then we
that don't-
might be feeding them.
No. Because they'll still make signings and then all the good players that they've got even better players to improve upon would drop into our team.
Good luck, Coventry.
See?
I hope you do it.
Good luck,
Second
Coventry.
place.
Now, I feel like we've both got the same here, and I think we've both gone rogue. I've got Leeds in second.
I've got Leeds in second.
And got Luton, so that means we've got Luton top. And that's purely because it's Leeds United, and Leeds will do a Leeds. And everybody's backing them. They've got all the pressure on them to be top of the league. But I think they're going to do a Leeds and not manage it for some reason.
I can see that. That's what happened last season.
I've known Leeds fans the last few years, and I've learned a lot about Leeds over that time, which I didn't know. And it's just, they're literally, they're known within football as bottling it. Doing a Leeds is the saying. And I don't, because they've lost, I know they've kind of recruited, but they've lost Archie Gray, they've lost Somerville, is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's gone recently.
They would, and I can't remember who the other star player from last season is that might be going.
Willie Nonto might be leaving.
Willie Nonto, that's it. And I just feel like...
Plus nobody likes Leeds.
You know what? I think these two will still storm it, but I don't think Leeds will get top. And I know we've got Luton top, which might be... Like, some people might have got them as, like, 5th or 6th. I don't know. But Luton, I said it the season that we got... So, the season that Burnley were winners, we came second. Mm-hmm. Luton were the best team to come to Bramall Lane that season. They then got promoted through the playoffs. They've then finished above Sheffield United and Burnley last season. And I can remember all the pundits last season saying, before the season started, they have not recruited for the Premiership, but what they have done is recruited good Championship players for when they come back down, because they already kind of know. But then also, out of all of these top, well, not all of them, Luton have got an identity, and a way of playing, and I think they've still got momentum, which when Sheffield United got relegated, we'd lost our momentum. When Leeds got relegated, they'd lost the momentum. Although Luton were losing games, they were still really pushing on in those games. They were still making it entertaining. They were still making it... They were going 4 teams. All right, they lost the games, but they were still playing the football that they'd been playing throughout the season. Mm-hmm. Yes, they've lost Ross Barkley, but I believe they've been still recruiting. Like
they've kept other players. I think they've still got Chong. I think so.
So that's why I've got Luton top, because I just think I love an underdog, and I've got a weird soft spot for Luton. Like I said, I've got a soft spot for Millwall randomly, because there's just something about them. Like, yeah, I think Luton are top. I don't know what your thoughts are on Luton. I've sort of been rambling for a little bit there.
So for Luton, they signed good, like everybody said, they signed good for the Championship for the following season. Yeah. And the only players they've lost to a league comparable or better than the Championship is Ryan Giles and Ross Barkley. Ryan Giles has gone to Hull for $5 million.
Okay.
And I think he was on loan there last season as well. And they've lost Barkley to Villa.
Yeah.
So I think, and then they have brought in as well. They brought 2 free transfers. Shandon Baptiste, I mean, he a few years ago was meant to be a massive name, and then I think he's had a bit of a fall off, maybe for injury or something. So that could be a really good signing. And then they've signed someone from Arsenal's under 21s, who's 19. So they've not brought a lot in, but they've not lost an awful lot. They've not lost an awful lot at all.
I think we stick with Luton. as top and Leeds second then.
It's there for Leeds to bottle.
So do you want to go?
It's there. It's not for Luton's to win. It's there for Leeds to bottle, and I think that's likely what will happen.
Do you, out of that top 6 that we have, I know we've both made our predictions, but do you think there is any team there that have the potential to storm the league and do like a Burnley or a who was it a few years ago? Was it the season we first got promoted?
Norwich did it, didn't they?
Norwich stormed it.
I don't know if they stormed it because it was Norwich and Leeds battling till the end. Fulham did it. Yeah. Fulham stormed it with Mitrovic.
Do you think there's any of those teams, any of the top 6 that we've got that could do that, or do you think it's going to be a really competitive top 6?
Of the 3 most likely, I'd say it's Leeds, Luton, and Burnley in that order. I don't think we've got the depth to do that.
No.
To churn through the amount of matches the season's got. Coventry are good, but I think that's because they're going to beat teams around them and do well against the bottom half. I think they might drop. They're more likely to drop points to like a Stoke than they are to a Leeds. I think they're going to give the top teams a game, but I don't think they'll storm it. I just think they're going to be comfortably there and push at the end. I think it's like I say, it's Leeds to win. If anyone's going to storm it, it's probably Leeds, but I just don't see them doing it. Daniel Farke notoriously starts slow at every season. His in-game tactics are questioned a lot. The losing Somerville, and when they were struggling to score against the bottom teams and they were holding out and playing a deep line, Somerville was the one who whip a ball in, get a goal, and they've lost him. The Bamford's probably still going to be making appearances.
I didn't realise he was still there.
I don't see it, but Leeds are the most likely, because they've got quality down every aspect of the pitch. Whereas, say, if you look at, and so have Luton, but if you look, and Burnley can fuck off. But then, like, if you look at, like, Wednesday, there's a lot of unknowns. Yeah. If they're genuinely starting Max Lowe for a season, they can't run away with the league. That's not a dig at Max Lowe. That's not a dig at Max Lowe. It's just, you're only as strong as your weakest link, and I know where his level is. And although he's won a lot of promotions, he's never been the main man, has he? He's always been injured and out.
Okay. So, as I said at the top of the video, I have the knowledge of about 6 players outside of the Sheffield United team. Who do you think, what team and what player do you think is going to be the top goal scorer? So, like, the team for that the player plays for. Sorry, I should have made that clear. It's like, is there somebody for Middlesbrough that you think could be the top goal scorer? Who do you think? I'm not going to say anything because I really have no clue. I don't know. I listened to a podcast earlier and they said who they thought was going to be Golden Boot top goal scorer, and I'd never heard of them. So, is there anyone you think?
This is something I gave a little bit of thought to, but didn't end up. And I actually looked up a stat, and I think it was that of the teams that scored the most goals, the last 2 league scorers haven't come from them teams.
Promoted teams, yeah. So last season was Szmodics, which was Szmodics, sorry. He played for Blackburn, who finished 19th. Season before that was Akpom for Middlesbrough, I believe. I only know this because I listened to a podcast earlier in preparation for this.
I think we listened to the same one. So 2023 was Shamish Szmodics and Adam Armstrong was in second. The season before was Chuba Akpom and Gaio Perez from Coventry. The season before that was
a promoted team.
Mitrovic, and then Solanke as well.
Yeah.
And then the season before that was Ivan Toney. They went up that season.
Yeah. So do you think it's going to be a Luton Leeds Burnley player, or do you think it's got... Sorry, I've got Burnley as third on my list. Who did we have as third? Coventry?
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be a Luton Leeds Coventry player, or do you think it's going to be
I actually have
some rogue
I
big
actually
table
have
team.
a player who I genuinely think could do it, and it's going to come across as really biased
Because it's a Sheffield United
It's a
player.
Sheffield United player, but there's reasonings. It's Kiefer Moore because
Okay, go on.
he's
I
the
know the logic based off the signings we've made and what we're planning on playing as football from what I've seen.
so he's the main man. He's the one there, and then you've got players. It looks like Raksaki is coming in, who runs to the byline. It looks like Gus Hamer's going to be sort of playing a bit off of him on the left, and then you've got O'Hare in the middle. I know people question O'Hare's actual numbers. The quality's there, but his numbers hasn't always delivered.
Stats-wise, yeah.
He's a big lump. If we're putting balls into that box, there's a lot of chances going to be on the plate for him specifically. At the very least, he's going to be top 5. If he's fit all season or most of the season, he's going to be top 5 chances had in the league easily.
See, I again, this is probably because I have a tunnel focus on Sheffield United. I agree with you, but then I also know what Sheffield United can be like at times, and I don't think we're going to be able to put as many balls into the box as we'd like, and we're going to mess around with it around the edge of the box because that feels very Sheffield United.
Maybe. There is potential of that. And the other thing we're forgetting is I don't know enough about all the individual teams. We're just here on vibes to say that there's someone else not doing that. Norwich have got Sargent. If he can stay fit for a season, he probably does a bit of a Mitrovic and absolutely blasts the goals in for fun. Because he probably shouldn't be at this level. I think it's injuries that have kept him here. So I would say no. I think them sort of teams, the goals come from Oliver, generally.
Okay. But yeah, I guess that's the end of this video.
There's James's own table on the screen now. Rinse him in the comments.
I'll send you a screenshot after this video. It's awful.
There's awful. Mine on the team. And there's the official 4-4 F2.
F2.
We'll check back at this at the end of the season. I'll keep tabs on it, and if it's actually looking likely that either one of our individuals or the one we've combined is likely to happen in any way, shape, or form.
Based off my betting, gambling history, prediction history, mine is going to be nowhere near. And I'm all for it because it just makes it even more funny.
And if we've spoke about your club, make sure to leave a comment, drop a subscribe.
Tell us why we're wrong.
Tell us why. Unless you're a fan of Burnley. If you're a fan of Burnley, find a different... No, I'm joking. But, comment why we're wrong.
I want to use this channel to gain ball knowledge. I want to learn about the Championship because I love the Championship in terms of the football that's played, the physical football that's played. I prefer it so much more to the Premier League. I watched Premier League football last season. It was boring. I hated it.
It's passing through the lines. There's no individuality.
It's so protective. It's not. I love attacking football. I love a bit of flair here and there. I love seeing a bit of shithousery in there. And that there's just no. I feel like there's no place for that in the Premier League anymore. It's purely stats and possession-based football, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Championship is where it's at. Championship is now the new best league in the world.
So let's all educate everybody in the comments, whatever, about the Championship, about your team, and let's get into it. Enjoy the season. See you all soon.
Enjoy the season, everyone. Goodbye.